Welcome to the Becoming a Hero of Mobile, Salesforce1 Mobile App Best Practices for Admins webinar. We'll get things kicked off by introducing our speakers. So today we've got myself, Mike Gerhold. I am a Salesforce admin evangelist. I work at Salesforce.com. You can tweet at me at Mike Gerhold. But really the stars of this webinar today are Phil Maier, who is the systems analyst with Design Within Reach. He will be the superhero mobile admin. And Chris Landy, Salesforce1 product marketing. You can tweet at her at Chris Landy. There's a rumor that she flies an invisible jet into work every day, but I have yet to see it. And for those of you that haven't seen the Safe Harbor slide, maybe this is your first webinar or your first time, you will see it a lot at Dreamforce. The Safe Harbor slide basically says, do not make any forward-looking statements do not make any purchases based on forward-looking statements. So we may make some forward-looking statements. Please don't base any purchases on that. You can read the entire slide in its entirety by going to Salesforce.com and searching on Safe Harbor. And of course, we are social. So you can connect with us at Salesforce Devs on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and even Google+. And of course, I want to remind you that the webinar is being recorded and a video will be posted to YouTube at the same URL that you used in registration. And if you are on Twitter right now, you can use the hashtag ForceWebinar to tell your friends that you are seeing some awesome S1 stuff and that Chris Landy might be Wonder Woman. But I think Phil is Superman. So let's talk about Q&A because we will be taking Q&A all throughout the webinar, so you don't have to wait until the end. Questions, you can post them into the chat window. So at any time if you have a question, please go to the GoToWebinar questions pane and post it. If you could do us a favor and not repeat any questions, that would be great. We have a team that will work through the queue and it'll help us get to everyone's questions a lot faster. And of course, at the end, we'll be doing some live Q&A, so stick around for that. We will take questions as much as possible. But we have an awesome Salesforce community out there at success.salesforce.com, so please go to success.salesforce.com if you have questions after the webinar, and there will be members out there that will take them and help you out as much as possible. And so with that, I will move on to Chris, who will give us our agenda.
Awesome, thank you, Mike. Again, I am Chris Landy. I am with the Salesforce1 Mobile Product Marketing team, and I do, in fact, fly an invisible jet to work every morning. It's amazing. So we'll go through best practices from a Salesforce standpoint. Mike and I will go through our best practices that we can share, and then we'll hand it off to Phil. As Mike mentioned, he is our admin mobile hero of the hour, and he'll talk through his best practices that he's experienced at Design Within Reach. And he'll talk through the success that he's had rolling out Salesforce1 Mobile App to his users, and we'll also show a couple quick demos throughout the best practices sections. And then, of course, we'll give you some resources to get started, and we'll also take some of your questions at the end. So as Mike mentioned, throughout the presentation, enter your questions into that GoToWebinar panel, and we'll be answering questions along the way. We have a great team of experts who are answering those questions, and we'll also take a few at the end. So just to kick it off, the reason that we're all here and the thing that I get most excited about as a Salesforce1 mobile product marketer is, of course, the Salesforce1 mobile app. You know, we launched this mobile app last year at Dreamforce. A lot of you got it in your hands immediately, and I know a lot of you out there are already using it and already having some great success with it, and a lot of you are just getting started. So the goal of this webinar is to really give you an overview of the Salesforce1 mobile app and give you best practices and ways to get started. And the Salesforce1 mobile app really has all of your CRM and your customer data, your App Exchange apps, and your custom apps. Everything from your Salesforce is brought in, not everything, most things from your Salesforce is brought into the mobile app. And so as admins, all of your investments of things that you've built declaratively, maybe it's custom objects, all of those are brought over into the Salesforce1 mobile app out of the box. So that's something that's really amazing, and our customers are always really excited when they build that custom object and they spend a lot of time building declaratively apps on the platform, those apps are instantly brought inside Salesforce1. And Salesforce1, one of our goals with creating the Salesforce mobile app is really to unify the Salesforce mobile experience. You know, for those of you who have been customers of Salesforce for a while, you'll know we've had a myriad of mobile offerings. We have Salesforce Classic, Chatter Mobile, Salesforce Touch, Logger, and ForcePad. And quite honestly, it was often hard to figure out what app you should use for what. You know, you'd go to the App Store and search for Salesforce, and you'd see about 10 hits come up. So what we really wanted to do with the Salesforce mobile app is take the best of all of our offerings and combine it into one flagship mobile app. So next, Mike and I are going to go through some of our Salesforce1 mobile app best practices. We've just chosen 5 for the purpose of this webinar today. Of course, we have lots more to share, but we're going to go through 5 today, and we have a couple demos to go along with some of these as well. So the 5 best practices we're going to go through is, number 1, putting yourself in your user's shoes. Number 2, getting into the mobile mindset. Number 3, putting what your users need at their fingertips. And also making the app feel like your company to help increase adoption internally. And then, of course, it's very important to always measure success and gather feedback along the way, because we know with anything, Salesforce is an iterative process, and it's all about getting feedback from your users and feedback from your employees and keeping on making the experience better. So number 1, put yourself in your user's shoes. Now this is something that we recommend to all of our admins before they start customizing anything, before they start coding anything. Map out your use cases before you do all of that and really think through what are those desktop processes that your users have that they really need on mobile. So what are they going to need to do when they're traveling, or they're on the road, or maybe they're in line at a coffee shop, or they're in their customer's parking lot? What are those things that they need to be able to do? And I know Mike used to be a former admin. How do you really think about use cases for users and really putting yourself in your user's shoes?
So what I'd like to do was really interview my users, and you mentioned, you know, in line at a coffee shop or waiting on an elevator. I call those moments of productivity. So I looked at the mobile app as ways I could deliver moments of productivity. So if it was 5 or 10 minutes, you know, throughout the day, that can really add up. Maybe it's just approving an opportunity or updating a contact record. You know, simple things they could do on the mobile device that at the end of the week maybe gave them 30 or 40 minutes back and allowed them to get to their son's t-ball game in time.
And that's awesome. I mean, giving someone 30 minutes back in their day, that will definitely make you an admin mobile hero for sure. And the next thing that's really important when you're thinking about rolling out the Salesforce1 mobile app and thinking about getting your users mobile is really to get into the mobile mindset and really take some time to think about what processes you have and optimizing them for mobile devices, because as always, you know, when we're on our mobile devices, less is always more. You know, we're on the go with our mobile devices, we have a limited attention span, and so really when you're thinking about these use cases, give really the essential things, like what are those very essential fields that your users really need, because you don't want to give that laundry list of all of the fields that they need to fill out that at the end of the day, if there's too much, they're just not going to do it. So really make it simple for them and think about what you can fit into that 4 or 5 inch screen that they're using, and also thinking about clickability. You know, there's a lot of us that have big thumbs. It's hard to tap those little links. So think about making the processes that they need to use every day in the mobile app super easy. Maybe put something in a publisher action or button instead of having it as a link. And also think about images and embedded charts. If you have a lot of these heavy things embedded in your pages, they might take a little bit longer to load. So think about page performance and optimizing for page performance. And Mike, how do you recommend getting into the mobile mindset?
Well, I think as an admin, we're always real keen on delivering everything. Like, we want to show up, we want to be awesome, and we want to give our users everything in the kitchen sink. But really getting into that mobile mindset is about delivering a few key features early on, right? So it's about giving them those features that they can be productive with, and then rolling out features as they need them, as opposed to overwhelming users with a whole bunch of functionality that's on the desktop that's also on the phone. So I always like to give them a few key features that get them hooked on using Salesforce1, and then roll out new features as they request them.
That's great advice. You know, that kind of brings me to the next best practice, actually, because it's really about putting what users actually need and putting it at their fingertips and making it really easy for them. So, for example, in the Salesforce1 Mobile App, you have the left navigation that you see here on the screen. Think about those items that your users need and that they need to use every single day, and put those items at the top. And as a quick tip, that item that you have at the very top is going to be your user's landing pages. So if maybe they need to access their feed or their dashboards, make sure you put that at the top, and that will then be their landing page every single time that they open the Salesforce1 Mobile App. So it's all about thinking of what they really need to get done and making it really accessible. You know, we interviewed one of our system admins, and one of his tips was to think about the tasks that your users do every single day, the things they easily need to get done, and put those tasks into publisher actions so they're just one click away, and that really helps your users be more productive.
Chris, I like that tip. I read similar tips on the success community, and I think, you know, rolling out the Salesforce1 mobile app as an admin, this is your opportunity to really engage with your users and do some fun stuff, like have a chatter group or do a survey to find out what your users want in that left navigation pane. I can't think of a lot of mobile apps that have that kind of functionality. I know every time I go to Facebook, they seem to reorder that left navigation pane, and they never ask me. But as an admin, we can really engage with our users and find out what functionality they want in that left pane, and then deliver that so that they have a better mobile experience.
Yeah, those are great tips. And the other great thing about the left navigation is, as you can see, there's a section for recent items, and those are all user-based. And so you can set the items at the top. So, for example, in this screenshot, we have feed and people and groups. But all of those items in the recent section are going to be the recently viewed objects that that user has used. And so every single user will have different recent items. So as an admin, you can really format the top as far as what they see, but then it's also formatted on a user basis as well. So the next tip we have is this is a really easy one, it's really making the app feel like your company, and this helps increase adoption, because at the end of the day, this isn't really a Salesforce app. This is your company's app. This is something that your users are going to log into every single day, so make it feel like it's yours. Give them visuals that they recognize, whether it's creating a landing page. So I know a lot of you have cool Visualforce landing pages when they log into the desktop application. Maybe make a Visualforce landing page for them to log into the Salesforce1 mobile app as well. So right when they open the app, they're greeted with your brand and your images. And you can also do a lot of easy things to custom brand the app as well, like creating a color header in your company's colors, or a splash page that has your company's logo, or even using your company's icon for the publisher icon. And this stuff is really, really, really easy.
Chris, you say it's really easy, and I've been an admin for a long time, but I don't know how to code, and I don't think I know how to code on a mobile device. I mean, is this something you could give us a demo?
Oh, you know it. I love giving demos. And I think that's you bring up a great tip. The great thing about a Salesforce1 mobile app, and especially as admins, we are all now automatically mobile developers, because we can actually easily create these new customizations with point and click, and it ends up on the mobile device. So we're all really mobile developers with the Salesforce1 mobile app. So I'm going to quickly walk through a 1-minute demo about custom branding. So hopefully all of you can see on my screen here, I have the phone on one side, and I also have the desktop on another side. So here I'm going to open the Salesforce1 mobile app, and you can see right off the bat it has a blue header, it has a blue publisher icon. It looks very Salesforce. There is a Salesforce1 splash page when you open it. So I'm going to walk through the quick process of branding this mobile app for your company. So first off, I'm going to dive into setup, which is, I know, an area that all of you admins know and love. And there's a section called Mobile Administration, and under that, Salesforce1 Branding. So when I dive into that, here I have all my branding settings. So all I have to do is first set the background color, and this is going to be the color for my header and also for my publisher icon. So let's go ahead, maybe my company color is red. And loading page color, this will be the color of the page that loads when your users open the app. And I can also choose a loading page icon. So for example, since we have our super admin hero from Design Within Reach, I'm going to use the Design Within Reach logo. And then I can also set an image to use as my publisher icon. If you don't put an image here, it'll just default to be the color that you selected for your header. So now when I click Save, and all I have to do on the phone here is actually just restart the app. So I'm going to restart that app, and now when the app opens, I'll have this new branding. So I have the red header, the red publisher. It now looks and feels a little bit more like Design Within Reach or a company that has red for a company color. So that was my quick 1-minute demo of custom branding. How was that, Mike? Was that?
I liked it. I liked that you chose
good?
red. It's a good color.
Great. So that brings us to our 5th and last best practice, which is, of course, to measure success and gather feedback. And the first tip we have here is to measure success using a Salesforce1 user login report. This is something that's super easy to create. You basically just create a new report type and then run that report. And this will actually show you all of your users, what they've logged in through. Maybe they've logged in through iOS or Android, when they've logged in. And so you can actually see how much are your users using it, when are they logging in, how often are they using it. So you can really help gauge success among your users. And if you want a link to the step-by-step for creating this report, we will put it in the questions pane. And we also recommend gathering feedback from your users. You know, there's a couple really easy things that you can do. The easiest thing you can do is to quickly set up a chatter group to gather feedback. Now, this was something that we did internally at Salesforce when we rolled out Salesforce1. We created a group called Salesforce1 Internal Rollout. And basically what this group was that all of our employees came in here and they asked questions. They gave us feature ideas. They gave us ideas of things that they wish they had that they didn't have yet. And that really helped us go through use cases for setting up the mobile app for our own employees. And then if you also want to be a little more aggressive about collecting feedback, you could set up a feedback custom action. And this is also something that we did internally at Salesforce. We set up a custom action that was globally rolled out to all of our employees, where they opened up the publisher and they were able to submit Salesforce1 feedback. So of course, I mentioned I love doing demos. I'm going to give a quick demo of setting up a feedback custom action. If this is something that you want to do, it's super easy. It just takes a couple minutes, and I'm going to walk you through really quickly in a demo here. So first off, I'm going to start out by showing you what's currently in this, my publisher here. So I have a number of things in my publisher. I can make posts. I can take payments. I want to add collecting feedback to this publisher item. So the first thing that I have to do is actually create a custom object. And so I've already done this. Basically what I did was I created a new custom object and I called it feedback. It just has a few fields. It's going to collect the feedback subject, a pick list giving a type of feedback. So now that that custom object is created, as I mentioned, when you create something declaratively, it's automatically able to be pulled inside Salesforce1. So now all I have to do to make this custom object a action is to go to my global actions, meaning that this is going to be an action I'm going to roll out to all of my employees, and create new action. So I'm going to create a new record, and now I just select that new object that I created as my target object. Let's call this new feedback, and hit save. And now that new action is created, I'm going to choose a few fields. So let's keep it very, very, very trim here. We want to make sure it's optimized for mobile, that people are able to quickly fill this out on the fly. Now that global action has been created, and the last thing I need to do is add it to my publisher layout. And this will make sure that everyone has it right there in their publisher. So here you can see I have a few items here already, and this new object that I created for new feedback will be right here. Let's put him towards the front and hit save. And so now if you look over at the phone, we'll just refresh that publisher. And here I have that new feedback item. So when my users see that feedback item, they can easily click, and maybe they have mobile feedback, if I could spell mobile. They maybe want to give us some kudos, and they can easily submit that new feedback right from the publisher. So that's a really easy way to gather feedback from your users and make that iterative process for making the Salesforce1 Mobile App even better for your employees. Okay, so enough from us. Now I want to hand it over to Phil, who is our system administrator from an awesome company called Design Within Reach. And Phil's going to take us through some of his best practices and his lessons learned setting up the Salesforce1 Mobile App for his company. Phil, go ahead and take it away.
Great. Thank you, Chris. As Chris said, my name is Phil. I am a system administrator and systems analyst at Design Within Reach. I've helped out with implementing Salesforce and the Salesforce1 app to our company. So a little bit of background on our company. We were founded in 1999 by Rob Forbes. Until the time we were founded, basically all the high-end designer furniture that we sell was only available to architects and designers. It wasn't available commercially or to just regular people. So that's where the within reach part of our name comes from. It was available to everybody. We have about 40 stores throughout North America and one main distribution center in Kentucky. We've rolled out the iPad to basically all of our users, and they use that when they're visiting with designer clients or to collaborate on orders with each other, and to just use chatter with each other as well, and communicate with each other. And we also have rolled out the iPhone to all of our managers, all of our area managers who are in charge of different areas and regions throughout the country, and all of the store managers as well. So when we decided to roll out the Salesforce1 app about 6 months ago, we decided to have one specific group be the focus of it, and that was our area managers. And as I said, they basically control different areas, little groups of maybe 2 to 5 stores in different regions throughout the country. And we decided to roll it out to them because they're the ones who are responsible for approving various cases that are submitted for approval. For example, delivery upgrades or returns beyond our grace period. So we decided to roll out the Salesforce1 app with the App Exchange app called Approval Central installed. And the approvals was basically the killer app that drove their usage initially. We decided to roll it out to them so they could do all their approvals on any device, on the iPad, iPhone, anytime they wanted to, anytime they were able to, instead of having to log into Salesforce.com and approve it from there. So that was the main driving force. We focused on that especially, but then we also rolled out a few other things, such as the ability to view sales orders on any device, which until that time they could only view their orders by logging into our VPN and then logging into our ERP system and then looking up the order and then finally finding out the status. Well, here they could actually use the Salesforce1 app to view orders with just the click of a button or the press of a button. They also had some dashboards showing their team's performances, showing the shipments and the orders in their area. And we also gave them the ability to view cases, so they could view the cases of anybody in their area, anybody in their team, So they can answer any questions such as, how is this case progressing? Can you get me an update on this case? And so on. So we rolled it out to them and gave them the ability to use it for about 2 months before we even decided to roll it out to anybody else. We made them kind of the advocates of the Salesforce1 app. When we rolled it out to them, we also gave them access to a very stripped down view of the fields. Rather than giving them access to every single field on every single case, we just gave them a few different fields that were relevant. And we also gave them access to just a few different objects. So only the orders, the approvals, and dashboards. We didn't give them access to every single Visualforce page and every single component that we have. We try to keep it completely simple so that they weren't overwhelmed, you know, trying to view detailed cases or orders on the app. They could get a good overview, they could get all the information they needed, but they didn't need to see every single field. So after they've been using it for a couple of months, they were kind of the super users. They were very well versed in how to use the app. They knew the ins and outs of it. So when we rolled it out to the entire field, they were able to actually help to kind of train the field and answer any questions that they might have had, and you know, so that they took a little bit of the pressure away from us to in answering everybody's questions. They were able to kind of filter them down, so we only got the most complex questions. So when we rolled it out, we only gave them, you know, the ability to check the dashboards and orders and their approvals. And when we chose what to display, we gave them different compact layouts from what was on the actual desktop version on Salesforce.com. So when we made the compact layouts, we chose about maybe 10 to 15 fields on each object to show them. We gave them very easy access to view all these different objects, and didn't overwhelm them with any of with too much information. So we also, when we rolled it out to the entire field, we had to focus on making the training sessions very, very easily available to everybody. Because we have about 200 sales reps throughout the entire country, we decided to have 3 different training sessions throughout the course of a couple of days. And we staggered the times, and we also recorded some of the sessions and made the recordings available. And we also wrote a couple of documents some training documents that we shared with them so they could reference them at any time. And we also continue to have monthly training sessions as well, so that even if somebody starts today, they'll be able to get right into Salesforce1 within a matter of hours. So some of the examples of exactly what we wanted to accomplish by giving them the ability to use the Salesforce1 app was the ability to look at order statuses or look at cases, even if they were at home. If they get an email or a call from a client and they're on their day off or just at home or just not at work, maybe they're on a visit to one of their customers' houses or something, they could answer a question by just looking at the app, looking at the order, looking at the case on their app, and be able to get back to their clients in a matter of minutes rather than having to go back into the store, log on with the computer, and then take a matter of days to find an answer. So when we rolled it out to everybody, to our entire user group, the ease of access was extremely key. We needed to make sure that we stressed that you can view anything that you need to view from within your iPad or from with your iPhone. It was kind of the driving point. We pushed out the Salesforce1 app to every single iPhone and iPad that the company issued so that everybody has it on their devices. The other thing, of course, as I mentioned, were the approvals, which the area managers were able to see. When they get an approval, they get alerted. They see it in their Approval Central section, and they can approve or reject right from their iPad or right from their iPhone. It makes it extremely easy for them to do this anywhere. And the difference between the two views, the way that the cases look or the orders look on Salesforce.com and from within the app, is completely different. So we decided to strip down the fields, make only the most relevant fields visible. For example, on sales orders, they don't need to see the tax amount that was charged, and they don't need to see the customer's ID number. They don't need to see the shipping charges. Instead, they see the customer name, the items they ordered, shipping information, and that sort of thing. Just the most relevant things that will help them answer almost every single question that a customer would have within minutes. We also gave them a few different Visualforce components as well, including a custom-made Visualforce component made by our partners, Forefront, that we had developed for Salesforce.com, but we added it to the mobile app as well. So with the click of a button, they're able to access these internal web forms, which allow them to create a case. It guides them through entering in an order number and then selecting the type of inquiry or case they would like to create, and then entering in whatever relevant or necessary fields are required, and creating a case all from within the app, all from within a Visualforce page here within the app. It was a very nice little feature to have to add on to the app as well, the ability to add these Visualforce pages. And it actually was not that difficult to add. So in the next section here, we'll go through a little demo here. It's kind of a little two-in-one demo where we'll show you the process of enabling a Visualforce page and making it mobile within Salesforce1. And then we'll show you how to add that page to the left navigation panel and then reorder the left navigation. And this is just a demo organization, but it is the exact same process that I went through and that any of you would go through as well. So in this demo org, we have a Visualforce page called Opportunities Nearby. And this is just a sample to show you how easy this is to enable. So if you want to make this mobile for Salesforce1, you first need to go into the setup and then find the Visualforce page. And from within the Visualforce page, you edit the security permissions. And we'll make it available for all users to see. And then just click Edit and check the box to enable it for the Salesforce mobile app. All right, great. So now this Visualforce page is mobile. So the next step is to add it to the mobile navigation. So all we do is scroll down to that page and drag it over to our available apps. And while we're here in the mobile navigation, we can also easily reorder the way these appear. So you could put that page at the very top or the very bottom. All you do is use the up or down arrows on the right-hand side. And then if you look over on the phone, you'll see the way that the previous order of navigation appeared. You'll see the feed, the dashboards, the approvals. You'll see that there aren't any apps available. When you pull down and refresh it, you'll see the new order with the approvals at the top, and there's the Opportunities Nearby app that's also been enabled. There you go. So it's really very simple to add that sort of thing, sort of Visualforce component to the mobile device, to the Salesforce1 app. And just kind of in summation, the key things that we decided to do when we rolled this out was we obtained user feedback from that initial group, from the area managers. we created a chatter group, and they posted any of their feedback or any of their ideas, and we built upon those ideas. So over the course of 2 months that they were using the app exclusively, we built upon our initial implementation of it, so that by the time we rolled it out to all users, it was kind of optimized so that anybody could use it. The area managers, we had them become the advocates and super users for the app. And after the rollout to all the different sales reps, we made sure to make training sessions and documents completely abundant, including training videos and guides. So we tried to make it as just easy to find information about as possible. And we also wanted to make sure that we gave them the most stripped down layouts and the simplified version of what appeared on Salesforce.com. We didn't want them to become overwhelmed. We wanted them to have the best ease of use possible. And I believe in that. I think we've succeeded given the success rate and the usage rate that we've had from across our entire company. All right, back to you.
That is awesome. Thank you so much, Phil, for sharing your story. You are definitely a true admin hero for making your team mobile and giving them time back in their day because they're able to get things done on the go. And thank you so much for sharing your story. I think that really just proves, especially that great demo, it just proves that any admin can suddenly become a mobile developer. You know, you saw how easy that was to take that Visualforce page and make it mobile and have it, give it to your users instantly. That was an awesome demo. Thank you.
Thanks. You're welcome.
So thank you everyone for attending the webinar. We have a quick survey we'd love for you to fill out at bit.ly/SF1 Mobile App. And your feedback is really important to us. We want to make sure that these webinars are giving you the content that you need and the style that you want. So please let us know your feedback and let us know how we can make it even better for you. And we have a few resources to get you all started. There is an awesome Salesforce1 group in the Success community. If you visit bit.ly/Success Salesforce1, you'll be brought right into the Success Salesforce1 group. This is a great group of customers, admins, Salesforce employees, all collaborating around Salesforce1. So you can go in there, ask your questions, and have Salesforce product managers and product marketing managers respond to you and get you all the help that you need. We also have a great community of admins and our customer MVPs that are constantly helping each other in that group as well. We also have a great mobile resource center. If you visit bit.ly/Salesforce1 resources, basically it's a one-stop shop for all of the documents, guides, customer stories, webinars, everything that you might need to get started with Salesforce1 is all linked to right here in this mobile resource center. And of course, as all of you know, it's that time of year for Dreamforce. So I have to give a quick little Dreamforce plug. Dreamforce is coming up. October 13th is the magical week, my favorite week of the year. And for all of you admins and developers out there, we have a great discount code for you at DF14 DVLPR. So you can use that code to get the $8.99 discount when you sign up for Dreamforce. We hope to see you all there. We hope to see you in the dev zone and the admin zone and the campgrounds. We hope to see you there. And on that same note, we have an awesome show next week on Salesforce Live, where we have rock stars like Jillian and Joan and Matt who will talk through the admin program at Dreamforce. So they're going to tell you everything you need to know as an admin coming to Dreamforce, the areas to hang out in, the sessions to go to, everything that you're going to want to see at Dreamforce. So tune in Tuesday, August 12th at 11 a.m. and watch the Road to Dreamforce about admin success. So now, time for Q&A. I know we've gotten a lot of great questions throughout the last 45 minutes, so let's go ahead and take some of these. Okay, so someone asks, do I have to download Salesforce1 on my mobile phone, or can I just use the /1/1.app? So the answer to that is that we highly recommend that you download the native app. You'll get the most functionality with that because you're going to have all of the functionality natively on your phone, for example, accessing your calendar or accessing your camera. So you'll have that native functionality that you won't get if you're using the /1.app URL. That URL is awesome to use on your desktop for when you're testing stuff. You can instantly see it in a mobile browser, but we recommend for the best experience to download the native apps on the App Store or Google Play. And then, so you have another question. Are Visualforce pages brought into Salesforce1? I think we probably answered that throughout the course of this webinar with Phil's awesome demo and his showing his Visualforce pages that he's brought into Salesforce. But yes, Visualforce pages can be brought into Salesforce. A lot of them, if you have Visualforce pages that are built with fixed widths or are optimized for the desktop, you will need to tweak those to make them responsive to bring them inside of Salesforce1. And I always recommend to people, think through your Visualforce pages. I know a lot of you have hundreds of them, and think through which ones make sense to be mobile, because you don't want to bring all of them to mobile if they don't all make sense. So this kind of goes back to thinking through your mobile use cases and thinking through which Visualforce pages really make sense to bring into your mobile application. Okay, let's see. Someone asks, can we customize the app based on what users need? For example, marketing needs to view the app differently from our managers, our service people, or our credit managers. That's a great question, and yes, you can. So I didn't demo this, but you can create different layouts for your different users. So I showed the example of adding that feedback custom action globally for all your users. But what you can do is set up different layouts for different users. And so when your sales team logs in, they'll see a completely different set of actions than your service team would see or that your marketing team would see. And that's something that here at Salesforce we do. So for example, when I log in as a product marketing manager, I have a whole different set of actions that I see when I log in versus someone in sales, because we need to do different things in our jobs. You know, for example, our sales team might log in and need to submit a deal support request. As a product marketing manager, I don't need to log those, and so I might see things more like a marketing request. So you can create these different views for your different user roles. And then we have another question. Are publisher actions available if chatter is not enabled? And the answer is yes. With Summer 14, our latest release that just came out a couple weeks ago, companies who are not using chatter will now have the power of the publisher. So you'll be able to take action and use that publisher as your launchpad for driving business forward and getting things done within the mobile app. And that is new as of the Summer 14 release. We're really excited to bring that to all of our users. Okay, one more question here. Someone asks, so the chatter feed does not have to be the default landing page. That's correct. It does not have to be. Your default landing page is whatever you want it to be. So we had talked about in the demo earlier. Actually, I'm just going to pop into my demo org and show you here. So we had showed the mobile navigation. And so here in our mobile navigation, whatever is at the top of your mobile navigation is going to be the top thing that they see and will be, in fact, their landing page. So in this case, we have the landing page as My Approvals. You know, Phil mentioned that was his killer app for getting his users excited about the mobile app and getting them using the mobile app. And so in this case, that could be their landing page. So your landing page can be whatever you want it to be, just put it at the top of your mobile navigation. Okay, and it looks like that's all of our questions. And if we didn't get to your question or we didn't answer it in the GoToWebinar pane, feel free to post it in the Success community. I mentioned we have that amazing Salesforce1 group in the Success community. You can find it at bit.ly/successsalesforce1. And with that, thank you everyone for attending. And we're really excited to bring you more admin-focused webinars, more webinars to make you more powerful as an admin. So keep tuned. We're going to be promoting more webinars in the Admin Digest that you're getting every couple weeks, and we're excited to bring you more content. Thank you, everyone, for attending.